Good morning. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for your time. Here we are to tell you about the story of how we think of revolutionizing and changing insurance, health insurance in the country. We represent Saludza and Equivida, two Ecuadorian companies which have made the decision of changing the insurance industry in the country. I'm here with Francis, and we will tell you the story of how we are going to do it.
Hello. Great, good morning, everyone. So my name is Francis, and I come from a company in South Africa. And I think without a doubt, I have one of the most amazing jobs in the world. And there's two reasons why I have such an amazing job. The first one is that the company that I work for is innovative and exciting. It is also really global. So we get to work with some of the most amazing insurance companies in the world. And the second reason is that we get to do something that, well, I really love. We get to make a difference in the world. We get to make a difference to insurance companies around the world and in terms of the difference in the lives of their customers. But over the last few conference presentations, I've been listening to it, and I keep thinking, like, if I was an insurance company, how would I know what it is that I am supposed to do next? Every single presentation has something different that we are supposed to be doing, something different that you're supposed to be doing from an innovation perspective, from a digital perspective, from you need to use this technology, you need to use this type of methodology. And the reality is that no matter which way you choose to go forward, the important thing is that you choose to go forward. Making advancements and being innovative is a mindset. It's about choosing that this is where I am now, but I want to be somewhere else, and then choosing a way to be able to get there. Now, in the last 2 years, I've probably spoken to more than 50 different insurance companies around the world. And each of those insurance companies are at a different stage in their life cycle. But those companies that are most successful, or that will be the most successful, are those companies that have the vision and that have the courage to be able to acknowledge where they are today, and then to be able to find a vision for where they want to be in the future, and then to be able to take steps to be able to meet that vision. So, as we go through this presentation, I think one of the most important things that you can listen to is when Natalia speaks about Equivida and Saludza in Ecuador, is to acknowledge that that is a company that has true courage in terms of being able to say, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to change, and then being able to take the courage or take the steps and have the courage to be able to make those changes in terms of moving forward. And it doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter which strategy you end up choosing. The important part is to be open to change, being open to strategies, and being open to taking whatever those steps are. So the one thing I think that everybody can acknowledge is that insurance companies need to change. No matter which countries I've spoken to at conferences in, or which countries I've spoken to insurers in, everybody acknowledges that they need to change. And we think that there are 3 key reasons why insurance companies need to change. So those reasons are, firstly, the nature of risk is changing. Secondly, there's this whole digital technology change. And secondly, companies are a lot more demanding, customers are a lot more demanding in terms of what they are expecting. The first one is that the nature of risk has changed. 50 years ago, the things that were busy causing deaths or causing claims in insurance companies are very different to the things that are causing claims now. Now the biggest risks are coming from the choices that people make every single day. They say now that sitting is the new smoking. Sitting is a choice. Similarly, people make choices whether they are going to exercise or not. They make choices if they are going to eat well or not, if they are going to smoke or not, if they are going to drive well or if they're not. People are making choices all the time, and those choices are now responsible for the majority of the claims that insurance companies are seeing. Then combine that with the fact that now almost everything in the world can be tracked. as more and more wearable devices, more and more technology advancements are being made, we can literally track almost everything about a person. And the more that you can track about a person means the more you know about those people. It doesn't matter if you're busy looking at fitness trackers, or if you're busy looking at telematics, or if you're looking at different types of health tracking. You can track so much about an insured person's behaviors. And the thing is that if you can track all of that, if you can understand more about a person on an individual basis, what right do we as insurance companies have to be able to say that one type of insurance is right for everybody? If there are two people that both apply for insurance, regardless if they are the same age, the fact that they make different choices every single day in their lives mean that insurance should be personalized to those choices. More importantly, is if we can help them to change those choices, if we can encourage them or reward them for making good decisions, then how does that alter their risk? How does that change their profitability to you as an insurance company, to us as insurance companies? And the last big reason why we need to change is that customers want more. The new generation has only been brought up in the digital age. They only are aware of a world that is instant gratification. They want more and more from their insurance company. They expect to be looked after. They expect to have personalized insurance. They want personalized types of programs that are targeted specifically at them. And that new type of consumer is more and more demanding. So when you look at it, people make choices that are responsible for the claims with insurance companies. Choices. We know so much about these people. And then we have a whole new generation of insured customers that are coming that are so demanding that if we do not change as insurance companies, we are going to get left behind. And I can tell you without a doubt, in every country that I work in, every single insurance company that we work with, everybody acknowledges that there is a change needed. And many companies are not sure about how to go about making the change or what is the right change for them to be able to make. So we are quite lucky. I would love to say that we started off as an exceptionally innovative company that was on the cutting edge of technology and really acknowledged this need to change. We are all of those things today. But the reality is, 25 years ago, when we started our own personal change as an insurance company in South Africa, it was because we had no choice but to change. The conditions in South Africa at that time were exceptionally complicated. We have a very high burden of disease. We have doctors that were busy leaving the country in 1992, 1993, 1994. Doctors were leaving the country. Medical inflation was out of control. And then there were new regulations that were being put in place. And those regulations were making it more and more difficult for an insurance company to be able to grow. Discovery, our insurance company, Discovery was a very, very small insurance company in 1992. And we had these really large companies that were owning the market with more than 100 years of experience in that market. So we were forced to start making changes 25 years ago. And now, 25 years later, we have an ethos and a mission and a vision that is in everything that we do. And that is to make people healthier and to make their lives better. And not one insurance product gets designed within our company unless it is around making people healthier or making their lives better. And if you look at our market share growth since 1992, it's been amazing. We are by far the biggest medical insurer in South Africa. We are the fastest growing life insurer in South Africa. And we honestly believe that it is all due to our program called Vitality. And Vitality is about how do we give people rewards in order to make them change their behavior so that they make good choices, and that those good choices ultimately result in better risk, which ultimately results for more profitability as the insurance company. Now, making those profits as an insurance company is not good enough. We believe that you need to share that value back to the customer again. So you reward the customer gets healthier or makes better choices, that gives you more profits, you give it back to the customer. And so you create a share in this amazing value uplift. And that's something that's been studied by Harvard University. Michael Porter is busy doing studies on the Vitality program and specifically on the concept of shared value insurance. We've also been recognized by Fortune magazine as being one of the top companies in the world that are busy making a substantial difference to people in the world. So all of this is great. Like I'm saying all of this from what is the recognition, what is the immensity of the program. But the reason I'm telling you that is not because I'm trying to sell you the program. I'm trying to tell you that the changes that you are thinking about today, the changes that you are talking about in this conference, those changes are happening. They're happening in the entire world already. They've been happening. In a country like as small as South Africa, they've been happening for the last 25 years. They're happening. You have to make a choice. You have to make some sort of a change going forward. Now, when you look at that change has different aspects to it, right? There's the internal change that you need to make in your company. There's the digital change. The mindset change is by far the biggest one. And then there's the change that the customer will see. So I'm going to play a quick video of one of our customers in Asia and the way that they choose to show themselves as an insurance company who cares about their customers.
I choose today, not tomorrow. I choose to learn new things, no matter how old I am. I choose to lighten up. I choose small steps, because each brings me closer to my goal. I choose big steps, because life is too short to hesitate. I choose to do more. I choose to do less. I choose to keep going. I choose to keep moving. To reap the rewards. Being fit is not so hard. Living for those I love is not so hard. Anyone can make the smallest of changes. Sometimes, that's all it takes to make a big one. Choose healthy, be rewarded. AIA Vitality.
So that movie is from AIA, one of the biggest insurers in the world, and actually that's won a number of different awards in the last year in terms of being one of the most innovative insurers in the world. So our group, Discovery, we have this Vitality program. And the reason I put up this slide is because if you look across the world, every single one of these countries, insurance companies are busy making changes. And if you look at the names of those companies, they're really big companies. AIA, Generali, Manulife, John Hancock, Sumitomo in Japan. And really, we're very proud of the caliber of the companies that we have and that are busy embracing change. They've chosen to embrace change the way that we believe change should be made, in terms of making people healthier and in terms of generating additional value. But if you look at our global footprint, 2 years ago, we looked at this map and we said, but there's a big problem. Like, we don't have any footprints in so many other countries in the market where we think that change could be ready. And when we first started speaking about how do we start working in Latin America, people started to tell me, like, there's no way, we're not ready for it. Nobody's ready for it. Nobody will ever be able to make those changes. And so we formed a partnership 2 years ago with Hannover Re, and Hannover Re has been helping us to be introduced to and to be able to work with insurance companies to see who is ready to actually make that change. And then 2 years ago, it was a very, very strange. I get this email that says, "Hi, can I please introduce you to Eduardo from Salud in Ecuador?" And I looked at the emails, Ecuador? Like, I really had to go to a map and I had to look to say, like, but where is Ecuador? And then on the first call, I was convinced that it would never work in a country that is so small on the map. And so I tried to convince them on that first call that it was a bad idea, not a good idea. But they were like, no, we want to make this change. We know that we need to make this change. So from our perspective, we have this global footprint, and we really wanted to work in Latin America. Ecuador? But Natalia will tell you the story from the other side and exactly what Salud and Equivida were busy thinking when they were busy contacting us.
For now that Francis has already told you the story of what Vitality is, I'm going to tell you about us. We are part of the Futuro Group. Futuro Group is a holding that has investments in tourism, investments in renewable energy, and in insurance. Salud Vida. Salud and Equivida are the market leaders in prepaid medicine and in life insurance, and we were aware of the fact that we had to make a change. What does Saludza do? Saludza is the best and the largest prepaid medical services company. We have IPSs, we have doctors who do house calls, we provide all kinds of health services. And our mission says we take care of your health. And we always questioned whether we were really taking care of the health of our clients. If we were meeting the statement of our vision. And we said, what can we do to help our clients be healthier? And we decided to begin a journey to actually help our clients be healthier. So to meet this mission was a true challenge. We started several projects. We had a project that was called Integral Health. We designed a strategy to invest in the health of people, give them information, and we even said where we are going to have an application, we are going to have to take these steps. But we were always wondering, we were always asking, okay, how do we land all this utopia that sounds so good? People have to do more sports. Yeah, everybody knows that. People have to eat better. Well, everybody knows that. But it was over there. It was up there. It was utopia. So what do we do to make this more tangible and more profitable? And we always ran into the same problem. We wanted to invest in prevention, and our question was, okay, what do we do? How can we get this increase in profitability to happen? And basically, there we said, okay, it needs to be clear to us what the incremental cost is going to be because of the bad habits of people. You already saw changing the fruit for bacon, but we are going to research what is possible in the world and whether it's feasible and profitable. And basically, Eduardo, who is the person that Francis contacted, read the Harvard case. And this Harvard case, written by Michael Porter, talks about shared value, about how clients can make money and how the insurance company can make money and how you can influence on people for them to have better habits. Eduardo decided that he was going to be invited in a summit in Laguna Beach. It was under invitation only. He talked to everybody until he got invited to the summit, and he said, in this summit, I have to find these people from Vitality. He went to the conference 2 days, and the truth is he did not find what he was looking for. Last day he went to the dinner. He got there late. He sat at a table way down at the end, with two gentlemen, and one of these gentlemen was the one who handled the big data for Vitality, and that was the mail that he was showing to you. We contacted Vitality, and we were absolutely convinced that if they did it, and they have done it during the past 25 years, that we could do it too. And they summoned us to a meeting at 5 o'clock in the morning. We had to get up in the wee hours of the morning, and get to the meeting and sit there. And the first thing Francis said in this meeting was, in order to be able to do this, you need to invest $1,800,000. Now we know that he was trying to scare us away because Ecuador is a very small country and he was not the bit enthused. But the magic is the way that Vitality works. And we said, wow, this is exactly what we were looking for. We also understand things happen because of a need more than a wish. He told you how these South African regulations were making it impossible to work with them. They found the need to change. We wanted to change also, and that's why we tried to do it so many times, but we had failed. And that was the difference between one thing and the other. And now listening to you all yesterday and today, understanding that consumers are changing. We've heard about consumer economics, behavior economics. No, we now know that these things can be traced, that there is something called big data. And of course, we are changing somehow, but we cannot lag behind. We also understand that habits change in the long term. In the short term, the benefits you receive from Vitality and other indicators of the business are not necessarily just cost. We understand that there you move the sales indicator and you also impact retention, client retention. Yesterday, you were telling us that that the life insurance should be called death insurance, and that after having bought the life insurance, people normally regret it. People normally regret it, and that is where Francis was telling us that this product works very well for life, but also for health, but also for life. And that is where Salud, which is part of the Futuro Group, decided to invite its sister company, Equivida. Equivida is the leading company of life insurance in Ecuador. Their vision is to be your support for a full-fledged life. And we are going to ensure that your dreams come true, that your children go to college, that your children graduate, that your wife lives with peace of mind. But it's a challenge to reach this vision, to make this vision come true, if in the end you don't experience the benefits on a day-to-day basis. So with Vitality, we have found a way to get Equivida to manage two things. One is materializing an insurance, a life insurance, to make it tangible. And the other one is to maintain a dialogue, a permanent dialogue, to communicate with your client. What do you tell your clients? You may have all the channels and everything, but it's difficult to talk to your client when you talk about life insurance. Now we are going to be able to tell them, look, be healthier, live more, do exercise, eat better, and stay with us. And so I think communication is definitely one of the reasons why Equivida decided to work with Vitality.
And we had a big question that we were asked at the first meeting. Can we pay for this mega program or not? And that's when we saw these. Shared values are the most important, and with Vitality, we talked several times. It's important for the client to ensure Vitality, our partners, and society benefit from the program. So we can do it, and we can do it with 5 stakeholders that all win.
So we actually get that question everywhere, and that is like, can I really afford to make such a big change? Actually, there's two different questions. The one is, am I ready to make such a big change? And the other one is, can I afford to be able to put in the investment that is required to make such a big change? And the one piece of advice I can give everyone is to say that you do have to take some risk, right? And that's not just with us. I think that's with any change that you are busy making. But the reality is that you should be taking that risk or making that change with as much predictability as you can possibly introduce into the system. Now, there's a lot of people who will say predictability is not possible, that's not the nature of change. But there has to be other people in the world who are busy making the changes that you are busy thinking about making, or people who have made other changes that you can learn from. So for us, what we're busy doing, we don't think is a risk. We don't believe is a massive change and a massive risk to any of the companies. And we've taken it down to actuarial principles in terms of, from an actuary perspective, is like, what is it that we're trying to do? And the principle is simple. If I give you, as the customer, a reward, the value of the reward must equal a change in your behavior. The change in your behavior must equal profitability for the insurance company. The profitability for the insurance company must be used to give you more rewards. And so what happens is you create this concept of shared value, where the more you reward your customers, or the more you personalize something for your customer, the more loyal they are, the happier they are to be with you as a company, the healthier they are in general. And in return, that generates more profitability for you, which you can give back to your customers. And the whole concept of shared value, the study that Harvard University is doing specifically on shared value in insurance, is about how can you introduce shared value in every aspect of an insurance company's ecosystem. So it's pretty normal for us to go through an entire business case process. And the business case process is pretty simple. If this is your profitability today, before you make the change, making the change needs to bring you different increases in profitability. So in our case, the profitability is coming from improved sales, improved retention, and better claims, because your customers are busy making better decisions. And the objective of the business case is to make sure that the increase in profitability is definitely going to be more than what the fees or the cost is going to be in terms of actually implementing the program. So doing this all from an actuarial perspective is one thing. Proving that it is going to work is a completely different thing. So there's quite a long process that we actually go through in terms of creating that business case, but we think we have a pretty good method. But what I can encourage you is whichever partners you're busy choosing to work with, again, find out from them, like what proof is there that this model can in fact work.
During the business case creation process, we learned several things. Number one, the shared value aspect. This is a very interesting concept, and what we wanted to prove during the business case process is that this business was going to be profitable throughout our partnership. And it was going to be profitable for both of us because it had to be sustainable. So sincerely, we thought that they were going to sell us a solution. I'm sorry, this slide is not my slide. This is not what I was looking for. That they were going to sell us a package solution, and it was an app, and we had to be able to make this app work. So we said yes, but when they said no, this is shared, we have to share this. In the end, we said, okay, they know what they are doing, and they trust that the model works. So much so that they don't want to sell us a package solution and go away, but they want to build together with us. So there we spoke about the importance of partnerships. I believe that this is an excellent example of how a good partnership can lead you to success. And we were scared initially. The investment was very high, and we didn't know whether it was going to work or not. In the detail of the business case, we learned several things. Number one, how do the main business indicators work, we understood that the greatest impact was going to be on sales, that the retention impact was very important. But additionally, we saw that the impact in terms of cost reduction was more a long-term issue. We understood that Vitality was going to be our business partner, and then we made the decision to open the door and let a new partner come in to our business. And this is not an easy decision. You have a good business, you are a leader, you are successful, you are doing it right. And there is a need to change. But it's difficult to share, and it's difficult to say, okay, let's bring a new partner to the table that will be part of this, and we will be successful together. But that's a decision that if you make it correctly with the right partner, it works. We also learned how to work with a win-win situation. We had a negotiation in which they had to win and we had to win. We also understood that individualizing the model and the program to Ecuador was very important. This program has been in 18 countries. It has been proven to work, but Ecuadorians are not necessarily the same as the people living in England or in South Africa. So that's where we said we have to work very strongly on tailor making. So that's when we got the approval from the boards. We run a different business case for each one of them. The two business cases had a complete initial investment because we thought, well, if Equivida or Yasa Salud retire from this program, it has to be profitable for the company that stays. So one of the things that was really important was to be able to show the business in sales, and that's when the director said, okay, we see that this works, and they decided to bet on us.
So Natalia's right, it's not just what is happening in the rest of the world. We need to make sure that everything that is happening everywhere else can in fact happen, in this case, in Ecuador, and specifically that it can work for the companies like Saludza and for Equivida. You know, and Vitality specifically is about making a fundamental change to the business. It's about going from an insurance company that is only talking about risk or about death or about how do we, what do we do when you need us, when you are in trouble, to what do we do when we reward you for living, for making good choices today, not just there when things are busy going wrong. So it's about changing from a traditional insurance company to insurance companies that are more about life, about rewarding, about choices, about living and living life well. And what's quite important is that it needs to change. Like Vitality can't just look exactly the same inside every country. And I would argue that any change that you are looking to emulate from any country in the world is not necessarily going to be exactly the same when you do it here in Colombia or in any of the Latin American countries. So I'm going to show a quick video, I'm going to cut it a little bit short, of one of the movies that they are doing in Korea for AIA and the way that they chose to bring across Vitality, just to show you the differences in culture. And before I show it, I don't think a movie like this would be exactly right for Latin America, but Natalia will show you a different video that's a lot nicer, I think, for the Latin American market.
Vitality. 걸을수록 돈이 되는 Vitality. 국민 건강 국민 어플 Vitality. 통신요금 할인받고 Vitality. 공짜 커피 한 잔 받고 Vitality. 걷는 것이 남는 장사 Vitality. Vitality.
The movie goes on for a long time like that. It gets funnier the more that you watch it. So the reality is that not one change is not going to be perfect for everywhere. You need to have enough flexibility to be able to change things to be applicable to a specific market. We know from our studies in South Africa, the UK, in the European countries, we know what the effects of physical activity are. We know that the more you exercise, the lower your claims are going to be. And we know that the more you exercise, the better your, whether it's health claims or whether it's life insurance claims, we know that we can improve those claims. The question is it going to work in Ecuador? And we need to do the studies to be able to make sure that we are convinced that the underlying base principles or the underlying base problems that we see in other countries are equal in Ecuador, or that we can change them, not only in Ecuador, in every country that we go into. We can see that depending if a person is engaged in the program and uses the program, or if they don't, there's lower claims, life insurance and health insurance. We can see that people who are being rewarded when they are alive for making good decisions, if you are getting rewarded every single month from your life insurer, we see how they are more loyal. We see it in South Africa, we see it in the UK, where we own insurance companies, and we see it in all of our international markets. But the reality is that even if the economics work, even if I can convince you that the economics are right for Colombia, right for Brazil, right for Argentina, we still need to make sure that we're going to be a really good partner. And so what we do is we invited Salud and Equivida to come to South Africa and to experience Vitality, to see Vitality as it works, but more importantly, to experience us as a culture, to experience our company and the ethics and the values that we have. And it's been an amazing experience to learn that a company in a country that I didn't even know existed 2 years ago shares equal values in terms of in every single way, shares the exact same values, but then is also more determined than I possibly have ever seen, more innovative. Like they are, every single challenge that comes their way, they just stand up for that and they move forward. And then equally as important is you need to experience the culture, right? So to go on game drives in South Africa, to learn about who we are as a company. And equally, later I'll show you what we did when we went to Ecuador for the first time.
And well, the decision was independent, as I said before, and in the end, the business cases that were developed were one for Saludza and one for Equivida. And what has been a big challenge is to design a program with the same benefits. The way to communicate clients, we must agree on that, because in the end, we have to communicate the same program to our clients, and these are two totally different companies. I am in the middle leading this program, and the truth is that I cannot explain to you how different they are, but in the end, these are two companies that understand that there is a need to innovate, to change, and they understand all the trends. And the truth is that it has been a huge challenge, but we are accomplishing our goals.
So by this time, you literally are one company. I think I spoke more to Saludza than I did to my own mother over a period of 6 months. But you're working together, you're understanding everything. And by this time, we understood the challenges that Saludza and Equivida were busy having in terms of practically, how do you take something like this and implement it? And then how do you do that across two different insurance companies? And so there were really, really complex challenges that we needed to do. But by this stage, we felt like we were partners already. So we went to Ecuador, very hard workshops in Ecuador, as you see in the pictures. We really did a lot. But it was an amazing experience to be able to sit there and to brainstorm the best way to start making changes, the best way of how can this work realistically. It doesn't make sense to ignore the problems. Have a vision, acknowledge where you are, but acknowledge where you really are. You need to know what the problems are, because if you know what the problems are, you can find the solutions on how to resolve those problems. And I think it takes a very courageous, a very brave company to be able to look at it and say, number one, these are my challenges, but number two, despite my challenges, I'm still going to go and I'm still going to achieve the goal that I want to achieve. And the reality is when you start the implementation of any change, it's quite complicated. And we think we have a good methodology in terms of how you implement it, the different focus areas. You need to look at everything from marketing to operations to IT. You need to look at actuarial design, product design, it's pointless to say you want to revolutionize an industry if you're not willing to look across the entire spectrum and to revolutionize every single piece of the company so that the customers experience something that is completely different. And so all of those different work streams, they're actually really interconnected. Marketing needs to be able to talk to reward partners and the product team need to be able to interact together. It's a very, very complex ecosystem in terms of actually implementing those.
Well, and what's the project for us? Basically, number one, it's a project in which we have had a lot of confidence and trust, a lot of trust between Saludza and Equivida, Equivida with Vitality, Vitality with Saludza. And the truth is that this is the only way we can work. This has been a 9-month project. It has been a big challenge to complete it in 9 months. But the know-how of Vitality has helped us to build this. We can say that it's the analogy of building a house. If you decide to decorate first rather than placing the columns, it won't work. So the WorkFit methodology splits the project or divides the project into different segments so you can see every vantage angle. How are we going to operate? How are we going to design the product? How are we going to communicate it to the client? And each one of these workshops has to interact one with the other. And the most important point is that you have to realize that your company is changing. When you implement this, you are making the decision of being another company moving a step forward and thinking differently. So I believe that this has been the most important lesson for us and our commitment. Both Salud and Equivida decided that this is not going to be a side business, that it was going to change the business of these companies forever. As I said initially, what is it that we wanted to do? Well, we wanted to transform the insurance industry in Ecuador. And to do this, you cannot continue to do the same. You have to change the way you do it, and you have to be committed to do it fully. And basically, we will be launching the program very soon. We are on an expectant campaign. The launch of the program is June 13, so this is a pick of what is coming. So please, we ask you for confidentiality, but basically this is the campaign going on in Ecuador. So welcome Vitality, and as Francis said, this is the way we will tell our story. Equivida, the life insurance to enjoy your life now with Vitality, the welfare program that rewards you. Every week you receive drinks, movie tickets, watch cashback, and policy cashback. Equivida, the life insurance to enjoy it while you live. Well, and that's all. For us, it has been a pleasure to tell you our story.
Gracias.